Gears of War 6, a game long in the making, and a game that I and many other Xbox fans are really looking forward to hearing more about. Will we get a trailer and a release date this year at Summer Games Fest? Well, I hope so, but of course we're just going to have to wait and see. Hi everyone, it's been a minute. This year's been so slow for game releases, big game releases, ones that I want to put my time and effort into. Compared to last year's releases between January and May, compared to this year's, it's been extremely dry. So yeah, there's not really been much activity on the channel in the past few months, but I'm hoping that come Summer Games Fest we'll have something to look forward to. Hellblade also comes out on the 21st of May. So that's also a really exciting game to jump into, to play, to do a story explain, to talk about. So I'm hoping there'll be much more to come on the channel for the rest of the year, and of course GTA 6 next year as well. But today I do want to talk about Gears of War and focus on that game in particular because it's one of my favourite franchises of all time, and it's one that I think has been neglected in the past 6 or so years. I recently played through Gears of War 5 with my mate Tom. Tom, shout out to you, I know you'll be watching this video. And we did the whole thing co-op, and it was really fun. I almost forgot how good Gears of War actually was as a game in general. The story is interesting and gripping in some of the latter games, of course, and 5 ended in a way that really nicely sets up Gears of War 6. Of course, I would love for you guys to leave your thoughts and opinions down below on what you think of Gears of War 5 for one, the Gears of War franchise in general and how it's been managed over the last couple of years, and what you're expecting from the next Gears of War game. Will it be a full game? Will it be a spin-off? How will the story progress going forward? Of course, leave your thoughts and theories down below in the comments, but without further ado, let's dive straight in to the video. Gears of War 5 came out in 2019, around September time. So there's been a long gap between releases of these games. There's been no spin-offs, there's been nothing. And it reminds me very much of the management of the Halo franchise. We go such a long period in between releases that the story kind of just stagnates and people just be like, what next? This of course means that the majority of people have probably forgotten what the story of Gears of War 5 was all about, where we got to and where it could go for Gears of War 6. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time recapping in this video around the story and basically just bring everyone back up to date with what happened. So check the timestamps down below in the description if you want to skip ahead. But without further ado, let's dive straight into the recap. Following the events of Gears of War 4, JD, Del, and Marcus are officially reinstated in the COG army, along with Kate, who is given her the rank of Corporal. Reformed as the new Delta Squad, they travel to the ruins of Azura at Damon Baird's request in order to launch a Hammer of Dawn satellite in an effort to restore the Hammer of Dawn network. After doing this, they return to the COG capital, New Ethera, but Baird informs them that he still cannot locate the other remaining satellites. First Minister Jim finds out about the launch and orders them to not restore the network, since it would go against the wishes of the late Anya Stroud, Marcus's wife and JD's mother, who had of course decided permanently to decommission the Hammer of Dawn. Jin received word that Settlement 2 is under attack by the Swarm and sends JD's squad to assist this evacuation. Accompanying them in defending the settlement are Augustus Cole, Clayton Carmine, his niece Lizzie, and Faz Chutnai, JD and Del's former squad mate. It's revealed during the battle that JD, Del and Faz had previously been deployed in Settlement 2 to quell a riot, which resulted in the death of civilians and prompted JD and Del to go AWOL. During a heated argument with Del, Faz revealed that JD gave him the order to open fire on the civilians, causing Del and Kate to lose their trust in JD. As the Swarm attack intensified and threatened to destroy the evacuation convoy, JD orders Baird to fire the Hammer of Dawn prematurely. While the Swarm forces are annihilated, the Hammer of Dawn malfunctions and begins firing wildly. JD saves a group of civilians but is badly injured after failing to save Lizzie from being killed by the hammer strike. 4 months later, Kate and Del arrived at the outsider village situated in the skeleton of the Riftworm to try and convince them to join the COG and to get out of their current settlement. The village chief was Kate's uncle named Oscar. He refused to join the cog, but the village was suddenly under attack by the swarm. During the battle, Kate is captured by a snatcher and begins to experience vivid visions of controlling the swarm forces. She escapes the snatcher, but is unable to prevent Oscar's death. Cog reinforcements led by JD, who is now a captain, and Faz then arrive to evacuate the village. Kate tells everyone about her visions, and Marcus recommends that she heads to a secret lab in New Hope to the north to find answers as to what's going on, with Dell deciding to accompany her against JD's objections. As they reach the lab, Marcus explains that the chief scientist, Niles Samsung, had been experimenting on the children of humans suffering from emulsion poisoning. They find clues leading them to Mount Kadar, a former Locust stronghold. Kate and Dell continue to Mount Kadar, where they find another secret cog lab hidden beneath the ice. There they find Niles still alive as an AI construct and uncover the frozen remains of cog personnel and locusts. Niles explains to them that the locusts were the result of his secret genetic experiments by manipulating the DNA of children infected with the emulsion and hybridizing them with the indigenous creatures of the Hollow. He also reveals that the Queen Mirror was originally a human who possessed a complete immunity to the emulsion and could control the locust due to her genetics being used to create them. However, when her newborn daughter, Raina, Kate's dead mother, was spirited out of the lab by her father, Mirror led the locust to rebel against the scientists and gain their independence. Kate panics when she realizes that she is the next queen in line of the locust, and demands that she be separated from the swarm's hive mind. Niles puts Kate in a special brain scanning machine connected to a dormant berserker called the Matriarch, which successfully severs Kate from the hive mind, but also resurrects Raina in the process, as her consciousness still resides in the hive mind. Niles then flees, revealing that he has intentionally revived Raina to let the swarm finish what the locust started. Niles is soon destroyed by the revived Matriarch, and Kate and Dell kill it before it escapes the facility. Realizing Raina is now the Swarm Queen, Kate reaffirms the cog that she needs to reactivate the Hammer of Dawn immediately. Sometime later, Baird takes the group of Vaskar, where the Union of Independence Republic's secret space program was located. Baird reunites with his former squadmate, Garam Paddock, who is now the leader of a group of nomads surviving in the desert. Paddock reveals that his UIR had a rocket loaded with Hammer of Dawn satellites ready to launch, a fact both the COG and the UIR kept secret from the public. He also revealed that the Swarm have recently become more organized and have developed new weapons and armor. Realizing that the Swarm's increased intelligence is the result of Raina's resurrection, Kate, Dell and Baird resolve to reactivate the Hammer of Dawn as soon as possible. JD and Faz also arrive to help Kate, with JD apologizing to Dell and Kate for his previous deception. The squad manage to assemble and launch the rockets and acquire targeting beacons to help control the Hammer of Dawn, though they are soon confronted by a massive swarm creature called the Kraken. The group barely manages to escape it when Paddock picks them up in a helicopter to fly them home. On returning to New Ethera, the group makes plans to launch the Hammer of Dawn. Marcus theorizes that there is a central hive where the Queen resides to command and coordinate the entire swarm force. This causes Jin attempt to arrest Kate, intending to forcibly connect her with the hive mind to locate the central hive so the COG can destroy it and end the threat of the swarm permanently. However, before she can do this, the swarm attacks New Ethera. The Gears attempted to set up the UIR targeting beacons to provide target data to the Hammer of Dawn, but the Kraken destroys them immediately. Raina, now transforming into the Swarm's Queen, appears and attacks Kate, JD, and Dell, forcing Kate to choose between either of them to save or to die. Kate and the survivor, whether that was JD or Dell, whichever you chose, let me know your thoughts and opinions down below in the comments of which you did choose and why, find their way back to their friends, but they're also attacked by the Kraken. The remaining soldiers fall back to Nuafira's outer wall to fight off the Kraken and are soon overwhelmed, until the squad's robotic companion Jack kills the Kraken by sacrificing himself as a targeting beacon for the Hammer of Dawn. In the aftermath, well, Marcus warns Kate that Reyna will return, with Kate remarking that they will find her first before discarding her mother's locust necklace. There's a brief recap of the Gears of War 5 story. And you know what? It was a really fun one to play through. As I said, I played through with my friend Tom the whole way through co-op, which I've not actually done on Gears 5 before. There were a couple of things here and there that I thought mechanically could have been better within co-op, but generally the story, the experience, how fun it was playing just with friends on this game, I really enjoyed it. Had Easter eggs predating back to the likes of Gears of War 1 and 2, and characters that are just so likeable that it really made the campaign joyful to play through. Of course, with the death of rather JD or Del, as I said, let me know which one you chose down below, it opens up the dynamic of a new duo coming into Gears of War 6. Of course, in Gears 4, it was JD and it was Del. In Gears 5, it started off as kind of JD, Del and Kate, but then it went to more of just Del and Kate, with JD being the bad guy for a little while in the good team sense, if that makes sense. Like, they didn't really like him for a long period of time because he lied to them and things, as we'd already gone through, but towards the end they kind of made amends. The dynamic for Kate and Del within Gears of War 5 was fantastic. Their back and forth banter between one another, them asking questions between one another as well to really answer the questions that all the players were thinking. And you could tell that they cared about each other as well, just with the way they spoke about each other and how Del went with Kate when he knew it was essentially potentially a suicide mission. Even though JD and Del, it was very similar. They cared a lot for each other in Gears of War 4. They were inseparable. They grew up together as well on Marcus Zananya's estate, and they had a great time together. They even joined the COG together. One Marcus told them both not to do so. And going into Gears of War 6, this is a massive point. JD and Kate have both lost their best friend, right? So this is going to be a massive plot point going into Gears of War 6. Reyna is still alive. They want revenge on Reyna. And because of that, that's going to make it so much more impactful. I hate Reyna now because she killed one of my favourite characters. My friend Tom was playing as Del the entire campaign. I love Del, and now he's dead pretty much, because I don't think that they're going to kill off JD. I think they will kill off Del in Gears of War 6. But yeah, I want revenge as well, and that's what a game should make you feel like. I think the plot behind Gears of War 6 will heavily be based around the fact that you want to enact revenge on Reyna for what she's done. She's no longer Kate's mother. She is just a silo with the hive mind infection within inside of her. That is essentially what she is. The goal of the game will of course be to find, to kill, to stop the Locust once and for all, as it pretty much is in every other Gears of War game, but also preventing them from being able to make another queen and do this all over again. They need to destroy the hive mind and the Locust for good, like they thought they did at the end of Gears of War 3. And if anything, sever the connection between Kate and the rest of the Locusts. In Gears 5, we can see that Kate was in fact able to control a series of Locusts when trying to persuade her uncle to go with them and to join the COG. Even when they visited Niles, he tricked them and awoken the Berserker in the chamber, and that was all in an aim to side with the Locusts, to try to get them to finish what they started and to awake Reyna. But they are usually a few different storylines in these games, in conjunction with the main one, of course, which will be to, of course, stop the Locust and to find Reyna. The first, of course, will be to get the Hammer of Dawn back online. It's a mess towards the end of Gears of War 5. The Hammer of Dawns should be online. I'm sick to death of chasing the satellites for Hammer of Dawn now. Then we've had it in Gears of War 4 and Gears of War 5. The Hammer of Dawn, just leave the fucking thing on, please, and stop messing around with these satellites. It should be on and it should be ready. If there's a problem with it, then fair enough, but the satellites should be there if needed. My friend Jack sacrificed himself because the satellites were not there. The beacons were destroyed. Get the satellites in the air and leave it there. We then, of course, have Kate's storyline, which we just said, separating her from the Swarm. Of course, we need to then find Reyna, to kill Reyna, to enact revenge and things along those lines from JD and Kate. And possibly more character building between JD and Marcus, as we've seen towards the end of Gears of War 5. They just started to have, like, the man hug together, which you can tell is a first for them. The story of Gears of War has always been interesting, so I think they'll nail it with 6, but they need to make it dynamic. There has to be different things going on that I care about. We can't just have another story of we need to find the Hammer of Dawn satellites, because we've done that for the past 2 games now. They need to come away from that. The Hammer of Dawn is a big part of the Gears universe, but it shouldn't be the center of every single game. It shouldn't. There should be other things that they can do now. We've had 2 games of it. Leave it where it is. The Hammer of Dawn is fun. The satellites should be in the air by now. Beacons, whatever it is. Just leave that there, please. And focus more on character building with Kate, the rest of the COG, the rest of Delta Squad, Marcus bringing back, Cole as well. What I would love, by the way, and I'm going on a bit of a rant and off script here, but the opportunity to play as the old Delta Squad. That would be amazing. To play as Marcus, Cole, Baird, of course Dom's dead, but just to play as those 3 and maybe have Sam from Baird's wife or something come back for a game or for a mission or 2, something like that. Just have like the old Delta Squad back. And I think that would be really, really cool. A nice little throwback to have like a couple of different perspectives, because I like playing as Marcus. I miss playing as Marcus. As much as I like JD, Kate, Del, whatever, Marcus, Cole, Baird, Sam are all really cool characters that I wish came back into the game. So that we can play as, of course. So maybe that's something they'll look at doing as well. Or maybe you can choose characters and play from their different perspectives. That would also be really interesting. But they need to switch it up with Gears 6. They need to make it more replayable. And they need to just make the game bigger and better than it has been before. There is, however, one area that they really need to dial down on into Gears 6 and innovate on. And that's the gameplay. Gears of War has always had the same style of gameplay from the first to the very last, which of course is Gears 5. You can go through, you can pretty much play the exact same way in every single game. Granted that movement has become more fluid in Gears 4 and above and stuff like that. But if you play Gears 1, you can play Gears 5. It's very, very simple. And I like that, but they need to start innovating a little bit, I think. And look, in Gears 5, they started doing a really good job of that. There was 2 big open world sections with the main missions, but then you could also travel around to different areas and find upgrades for Jack. You can approach combat in different ways. You can go a little bit stealth, which in areas where you can pull the batteries out the back of the different robots, which I really enjoyed. I like stealth games. I like going stealth sometimes. I don't always want to be in the middle of combat. And those were refreshing sections where I had to concentrate, and I really enjoyed that. But the problem is with Gears of War, there is always a format in which the game follows that has been the same for the last, 20 years now. Start a mission, explore, encounter a horde of enemies, walk around again, radio to Anya or whoever it might be, find the door or the piece of equipment or information or whatever you need or the button, then encounter a horde again, rinse and repeat. That's Gears of War in a nutshell. A lot of people don't like it, but a lot of people love it. I love it. You can always tell when you encounter a horde or will enter a combat section of a mission because there's cover everywhere. I'd like to see Gears of War 6 try something different in their combat areas and when approaching combat. Does this mean I want them to change it completely? No, but we're in 2024 now. The game has been out for, 18 or so years now? I just feel like we need to have a bit of variation in how we approach combat, and that needs to change as well. Maybe it's time to add some new mechanics to Gears of War. As I said, add a stealth mechanic here and there. Do different things like that. It would be so refreshing. I think Gears of War has such high potential, and I think with the fact that the game's been in development, since 2019, we've probably had like a 3 or a 4 year development cycle, to be quite honest. I'm very much looking forward to seeing what the team have done with Gears of War 6, how it's going to turn out, and I really hope it isn't just going to be a focused live service game, and I really hope they've put a lot of effort into the campaign. But guys, that is going to be it. The first video back in a while. I've really enjoyed recording this, actually. I've just been thinking to myself whilst recording this that, man, I've missed this so much. So yeah, I'm going to try and get back into the swing of things. And so when new games come out, there will be more videos. When Hellblade 2 comes out in 7 days, I'll be all over it. I'm very much looking forward to that one. And of course, there'll be loads of new games coming out. Destiny as well in June. I think it's the final shape, which is the 4th of June. That's going to be absolutely incredible. So it'll be all over that one as well. Gears of War 6, the Summer Games Fest. I'm going to be all over that. There'll be videos and reactions coming out all over the channel. It's going to be so good, guys. So make sure you're sticking around. Make sure you're subscribed. And let me know thoughts and opinions down below. Leave a like on today's video as well to show your support. That'd be absolutely amazing. But without further ado, everyone, we'll see you guys in the next video. Take care. Peace out.